Hello, my name is Jenna Smith. Today I am going to be talking about defective product recall. And this is an issue that may require the federal government intervention, specifically when it comes to passing bills and making laws. So first off, defective product recall is a process where a manufacturer or government agency removes a product from the market due to safety concerns or defects. A company or regulatory authority identifies a problem with a product such as a safety hazard or a defect. So when it comes to addressing the issue, according to the Congressional Committee's video, the Congress can create different committees to oversee some of these issues. Sometimes it's better for a smaller group of people to be working on an issue like this rather than a larger group, because then it's a little bit more efficient for things to get passed rather than a bunch of people trying to come to one conclusion. So a committee or a commission that would oversee this issue would be the Consumer Product Safety Commission, the CPSC, and it is an independent federal agency that was created in 1972 to protect the public from unreasonable risks of injury or death from consumer products. Laws. According to the Presidential Powers video, the president interacts with the legislative process of signing bills into laws and vetoing bills. So the Congress may need to pass new laws or amendments to address the issue, creating or amending laws to enhance safety standards or give more power to agencies such as the CPSP. And so if something is nationwide and there is a hazard or a safety issue, a law would need to be passed. That way it reaches every part of the nation, and then it would have to go federal. That way it can reach all the states rather than like a state or a city/county issue. The bicameral Congress. So this would impact the passage of the law. According to the video, both the House of Representatives and the Senate must have the same version of a bill for it to become a law. And so what that means is that the House of Representatives and the Senate must both agree on the bill before it can be passed into a law. And this supports the checks and balances concept. And so the House of Representatives can't pass a bill forward without the Senate also agreeing with it, and vice versa. Once a bill for the defective product is introduced to the House, then it'll get passed to the Senate, and then it'll go through a few more checks, such as President, before that bill can be passed into and become a law. Congressional leadership. According to the Congressional leadership video, the Speaker of the House and the Majority Leader have the power to decide which bills get prioritized for debate and voting. So there are a lot of different levels within the House of Representatives and the Senate. There's majority leaders, there's minority leaders, and so the head of each of the two, the House and the Senate, they kind of have more weight as to what issues are being debated, what people are voting on, etc. And so congressional leadership plays a crucial role in negotiations between parties also. And so a lot of things sometimes happen outside of like one big debate. And so they kind of have a role in puppeteering and like making sure that conversations are had, things are discussed before then things come to a vote. Congressional decisions. According to the Congressional Decisions video, there are several influences that could play a role and impact this whole process, such as public opinion and pressure. The media plays a big role. Sometimes the media can grab onto something and things can kind of snowball, and so things need to be handled quickly. Lobbying and special interest groups, political parties, economic considerations. Some of these being like some people could argue that businesses would suffer if a certain law is passed preventing a certain product to be sold, or different things like that. Timing and political context. This has to, like, if a big issue is happening during the time of an election, then sometimes things may be quicker to be passed. That way it shows that certain candidates are taking into consideration important aspects like that. Congress and the president. So according to the separation of powers video, there's a checks and balances system also between the legislative and the executive branches. This kind of goes hand in hand with the House and the Senate. The president plays a big role because no matter what, everything has to get passed through the president. And so that's where kind of the checks and balances come in. The checks and balances prevents the Congress and the president from each becoming too powerful. That way everything is balanced. And so this ensures that both branches must cooperate to achieve a shared goal. And so without one, the other, nothing can happen. But it can create gridlock or delays if there is a lot of conflict or people are not agreeing. Then sometimes things can be held at a standstill because either side is budgeting in what they believe. Presidential powers and congressional delegation and governance. So these can impact the outcome. According to the presidential powers video, the president can impact the process through vetoing power, executive orders, enforcement authority, and emergency powers. So vetoing the president, even if it gets passed through lots of things, the president can veto it and then it can't go through. Executive orders, the president can also create, and this kind of goes hand in hand with emergency powers. If something is needed right there, the president can create an order. According to the congressional delegation video, the Congress can pass laws, but leaves the details of implementation to agencies like the CPSC. So the Congress has a big role in allowing different groups what they can and can't do. And so with this, if the Congress is creating a bill and passing it and it's becoming a law, then they pass the law, but then they kind of leave other agencies to delegate everything else. That way they are not delegate everything else, but control everything else, because once they pass the law, then they're like, okay, my job is done. Now all of the nitty-gritty, itty-bitty details can go to different agencies, and the Congress can focus on something else that is more important. And so that is all I have for this presentation. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.